What is the best software to make music in 2020 for you, your production style, and your needs? I'm going to talk about it in today's video. Let's go. What is up, everybody? I am Legend, and in last week's episode of Track Out Tuesday, as you guys may have seen, I kind of gave an overview of what a DAW is for basically all of the beginners out there who are getting started in their music production journey. And so in today's video, since I already talked about what a DAW is, I wanted to go over what may be the best DAW for you, the best music production software that you can use on a Mac, on a PC, on Linux, and just kind of go over all of the different programs that I know of, that I personally use, what works for me, and then also feature some other YouTuber musicians' opinions on what DAWs they use, why they use it, and why it may be a good fit for you. So how do you go about choosing the best DAW or music production software for you? Well, it depends on what style of production you're trying to do, what kind of recording you're trying to do, whether you're trying to record vocals and instruments or just instruments, just make beats. These things matter. They all have different kind of workflows, different interfaces, different looks, and different ways to operate the DAWs. So depending on your creative style, you want to check out different DAWs to see what matches with your style of music making. And so with that said, the best way to find what DAW or music production software will work for you is by basically giving them a try. There's no other way aside from being hands-on. And I know what you're thinking, doesn't that cost money? Well, not necessarily, because one way that you can try out these DAWs is by doing a free trial. A lot of these DAWs, the majority of these DAWs, have a limited time free trial that you can use to try out the software, because they want people to be able to try it out, give them a chance to, feel it before they purchase it, to encourage them to buy it. Some of these includes programs like Pro Tools First, which is a free version of the Pro Tools DAW, Ableton Live Lite, which comes with a lot of MIDI controllers, MIDI keyboards. Actually, like 2 or 3 of the MIDI keyboards that I've purchased have come with Ableton Live Lite, as well as my audio interface. There's a full, I think, 14 or 7-day demo of FL Studio that you can use. They give you access to all of the features for free for that limited time, but I think the one limitation that they have is you can't actually save your files, but you can export it. You can do everything in the program that you want to do. You just can't save your files. And then of course there is Garageband, which is going to be free forever. You don't even have to buy that once you decide that that's the DAW that you want to use. So that's a free one that you're welcome to try if you have a Mac. Another thing to consider, even outside of having a music production software on your actual computer itself, is, as I mentioned in my previous video, phone DAWs are a thing. And yes, they are very capable these days. Like I said, Henny the Business is somebody who makes all of his music primarily on an iPad. If you don't have a computer and you want to get started making music, you can use your phone, you can use your tablets. It's not always based on the equipment that you wish you had. Sometimes it's the equipment that you have right now that's going to work for you. There is the music production software that is geared heavily towards, for instance, bands, live recording in a studio traditional setting like Pro Tools. That is a very studio live recording, live instrumentation type program. Not that you can't use MIDI, but it's heavily geared towards those live bands and things like that. But then you have something like FL Studio, which was originally created specifically with the purpose of using MIDI. It only had MIDI functions. You couldn't record live, you couldn't do any of that stuff. Now, with the advancement of technology, we have all of these different options and all these capabilities to do within these different DAWs. So whatever program you choose, you want to make sure it's geared towards your style of production. So if you are more of a live instrumentation kind of person, if you have a band, you plan on doing a lot of recording in like a real studio and with professionals who know what they're doing, Pro Tools may be the fit for you. But if you are somebody who is in their home producing, you're using all like VSTs and MIDI controllers and MIDI drum pads and stuff like that, then maybe something like FL Studio is going to be what works for you. So there's 2 different aspects, and it depends entirely on what kind of style you're going to produce with. I'm going to go ahead and show some of the examples of different DAWs that different producers use by bringing on some producers, some music makers here on this channel that you may or may have not seen here on YouTube before, just to kind of get an aspect and an opinion outside of my own, because I haven't used all of these music production softwares before. Show you guys, some other software. So first up, I'm gonna go ahead to my boy Dana Mar.
Okay, you can call me crazy, you can call me cuckoo, but the way I spit these rhymes, I could lead the new school.
Who is an artist, a producer, singer, rapper, songwriter, who uses primarily Ableton Live to do all of his music production. Let's see what he has to say about Ableton.
What's up guys, I'm Dana Mar and my DAW of choice is Ableton. I choose Ableton just for the simple fact that I've learned on Ableton, and once I learn something, it really doesn't make sense for me to try to learn anything new unless I absolutely have to. I'm a big creature of habit. I used to use Logic, and I really use Logic a lot, and I love the way Logic works and the interface and everything, but sometimes it just feels so clunky whenever I'm on it. Ableton just, you know, it feels and it looks more like Apple than Logic does, to be honest with you. I know Logic looks like Garageband, but you know, Ableton just looks so sleek and clean, and I just love the interface, the way you can expand and collapse your tracks, you could expand and collapse all your plugins, and just the way that you could use everything. The stock plugins are great. I use the compressor all the time. I use EQ8. I think it's just Ableton is just really nice, and honestly it's really aesthetically pleasing. Like the dark gray mode is an unbeatable mode. I honestly stopped using Logic for the main part because it didn't look as good as Ableton did for me. Like Ableton, it's aesthetically pleasing, you know, and sometimes you gotta be superficial with the things you do. Like I don't and that's kind of where I choose to be superficial in my life, but it's also just clean, and I feel like the way that my vocals come out on it, like I don't care what anyone says, I think different DAWs have different sounds for different things. So when I hear myself on Ableton, I just feel like it's the cleanest, and that's just kind of where I lean towards. Shout out the legend, thank you so much for letting me be in your video, bro. But yeah, my DAW of choice is Ableton.
So there you have it. This is it's a really popular software amongst a lot of electronic music makers, but also I'm noticing that a lot of people who are in different genres are starting to gravitate towards Ableton. Actually, they probably have already been there, but I just never was one to make music in Ableton. The workflow just didn't fit my needs. But I know Andrew Huang, who is a big music maker on YouTube. He uses Ableton Live.
I use Ableton Live 10, but again, there's lots of options out there.
The next person I want to go to is somebody who you may have seen on this channel before in one of my traveling musician episodes when I went to Romania in 2019, Doot Beats. This is a Romanian music producer who I met when I was in Bucharest, and he showed me his DAW of choice is actually Studio One. Let's see what he has to say.
I see we have different
right.
I'm using Studio One, and I love Studio One. I'm not making like a promoting or something, but I really love Studio One. I started with Fruity Loops and then with Cubase, and now I'm ending with Studio One because it's really cool, really powerful. You should use it, you should try it. Yeah, I know Fruity Loops is cool.
Yeah.
But don't stick with Fruity Loops. There's other software there that are really good.
Right. I mean, the music basically speaks for itself. You guys see how awesome this guy's music sounds, man. When I heard the stuff that he was making, I lost my mind. Another producer who was actually using Studio One, who was previously using Ableton, I believe, Blake Hart, who is a producer that I found on YouTube after searching some Maschine videos and things like that. So let's check out what Blake has to say about Studio One.
Because I feel like Studio One doesn't get a lot of hype, seemingly, in some spaces, and I think it's a really good DAW, and it's really been helping me. One of the cool things is that it's now going to be available on Splice, rent to own at $16.99 a month for 24 months, and apparently it's the first DAW that's made available on Splice to be able to be a rent to own, and I just think it's a really, really great DAW. So let me show you why I like it. So one of the really cool things I like up here is you see these chords? It actually can read the chords. It's not always the most reliable, but it's pretty damn good. But basically what I would do is I can start off with like a few chords. I put a few chords in here. You can see that these came from Easy Keys, and I told it to read the chords, and I can actually detect the key signature. So if I delete these chords here, so let me delete these, click on my MIDI, right click, go down to instrument parts and go to extract to chord track. Did you see how it just knew what those chords were and it put them right in there? So you could actually go and create like a bass line, and you can just play anything you want in that bass line. Like you add a key, like you don't really know, you don't know what notes go with these chords up here. So you just stick anything in your bass line. You can then actually basically tell the DAW, hey, adapt these notes I played for the bass to fit with these chords. So I'm just playing anything. Like totally just played anything. So right now you can see it says follow chords for the bass. Basically turn this off and turn it back on again. And did you see how my notes moved. So let's see what it sounds like now. You can go back and play with this. Like maybe I want to move that down an octave. This is absolutely amazing. So long, things got in my way. Like technology wasn't where I needed it to be. I just felt like some of the mountains were insurmountable for me to start producing. And then technology like this comes out and it's like, use it, you know? Like if you are somebody that wants to make music and you have these mountains in the way because you don't know all the theory, and you know, you gotta like think you have to learn all about your circle of fifths and figure out different scales, and like I don't have time for that. You know, I've got 2 kids, I got a family, I have a full-time job. I don't have time for that. So this to me is just amazing that I was able to jump into this program and have the logarithm, whatever they're using, to help me be able to have an idea, get it down, and then say, okay, we'll put this into key now. I just wanted to come out here, tell you what I liked about Studio One, and tell you it was available on Splice for $16.99. So hopefully you find value in this video.
Like I said, it speaks for itself. Everybody who uses these programs, they know what they're doing. They make some really dope music, and that's why I got them on this video. The next person that I want to mention is actually somebody who I tried to contact like yesterday to get on this video, but it was too last minute. It was my fault. But I'm kind of like hijacking one of her videos to show what she uses. Hopefully it's okay. Courtney Hawkins, a music producer here on YouTube who produces primarily in Maschine. Here's a little short clip that I found of her using Maschine and why she likes the Mikro MK3 and why it's just a good marriage between hardware and software for those of you who want to venture into that whole world of the music production game.
So now that you've seen it in action, let's talk about it a little bit and let me tell you some of the things that I like about it. And so I'm glad that they put the touch strip on this micro machine because I didn't know if they were going to. It is very convenient for perform effects, pitch, and modulation. I like how lightweight the micro is. The build quality, even though it is lightweight, it's very sturdy and very durable. And then it fits very nicely into my backpack. I can put my micro in my backpack, my computer, my headphones, and anything else that I might want to take with me on the go. This is the perfect option for you if you're trying to make beats that aren't in a studio setting, more of on the go, outside, after school, after work, in between school, in between work, like those types of things. If you're a person that's wanting to get into Maschine hardware and you want portability and a more budget-friendly option, this thing retails at $249. And if you're a person that, you know, wants to just be in their hardware and not having to look up at their computer screen a lot, just they can really dive into the hardware on the Maschine, then the Maschine MK3 is going to be the better option for you.
Courtney uses Maschine, Blake uses Maschine, and your boy Legend also uses Maschine. So I'm gonna go ahead and give my 2 cents. So the reason why, first of all, I use Maschine is you kind of saw a little bit of that in Courtney's video, because the marriage of hardware and software is so incredible. I personally love when companies, much like Apple, they make a product, they make a piece of software that integrates so well with their hardware. It's not just a program, it's not just a drum machine, it's both. And it makes the creative process so intuitive, so streamlined. I don't know, I just feel like when I first put my hands on a Maschine, I felt like a new man. It was very easy for me to switch from FL to Maschine. I don't like to interrupt my creative process and trying to learn a new thing, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't started Logic yet. I just took the leap into Maschine and it was super easy. Anytime I find creation becomes easy, the process is easy, I create much better. So that's why I like Maschine, and it reminded me heavily of FL Studio. Another reason why I love to use Maschine, why I choose Maschine, is the sound selection, which also is something that I love about Garageband. The sound selection that they give you is amazing. The factory library in both of those programs are second to none. I don't even think FL Studio, when I was using it, came with sounds that good, loops that good. Now the reason why I'm still using Garageband, since I'm just doing my vocals and I'm not making music in there and doing all this crazy stuff, and at the time I wasn't using any plugins at all, Garageband just worked for me, and I recorded all of my music in there. It made the creative process, like I said, easy. So I've been recording in GarageBand for the last, I think, 9 or 10 years, and my entire last album, my entire last 3 before I became Legend were recorded in GarageBand when I was still calling myself Enzo. And this is another reason why I haven't switched to Logic yet, because I'm still in the process of recording the album, so I didn't want to interrupt my creative process by trying to learn a whole new system. GarageBand is amazing. A lot of professionals actually have used GarageBand to record. Grimes recorded her entire album in GarageBand, one of them. And anybody who wants to get started in producing, especially if you own a Mac of any kind, a MacBook, an iMac, a Mac Mini, an iPhone, an iPad, I highly will recommend GarageBand, because if you want to do live recording, like record your band or whatever, you can do that. If you want to do MIDI stuff, you can do that. It's kind of like focused on both. You know, it's kind of like an equal playing field as far as how I look at it. Again, it all depends on your style, your production. Hopefully this gave you some kind of idea of what you want to look for and which DAWs you want to try out. Linked below is a website that I found that actually has 56 options of DAWs that you can look into. It gives you the list of DAWs, it gives you a score of each DAW, and then it gives you the pros, the cons, the experience that people have had, the specs of each DAW, and all of this stuff is user input. So people that have used these DAWs, you know it's not the company just trying to sell you a product. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, I do highly recommend that, because it'll save you a lot of time in deciding which ones you want to try. It'll give you all the specs and things like that. I hope this video was very informative. I hope you guys enjoyed my collaborations of sorts with all my fellow YouTubers out there, musicians out there. Be sure to subscribe to those guys if you guys are interested in hearing their music, or you like what they produce and some of the examples that I've shown. Amazing musicians: Courtney Hawkins, Blake Hart, Dana Marr, Dot Beats, Andrew Huang, all the people included in this video, Ramzoid. This year I want to support my community. I want to support the music production community the best way that I can. So if you guys could go give them some likes, some comments, some subscribes, tell them Legend sent you. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. You'll be notified every time I upload a brand new video. And as always, stay legendary. And sorry that I look so scruffy. Okay.